Hey guys, it's Q&A Tuesday. As I mentioned in the last episode, being swamped with comments and questions are becoming harder to collect. So email me from now on to roman@luxurybazaar.com, and it's just an easier way for me to manage all your questions. Here's a funny question from Lord Michael Nutt. Good day, Roman. Your channel is one of my favorites. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Michael. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube about high-end fake watches. My question is, if someone bought a high-end fake watch and they never found out, would it make a difference? If a tree in the forest falls, does it make a sound? That's the type of question this is, to be honest with you. And the answer is simple. It wouldn't make a difference. If I'm somebody that went out there and bought myself a high-end watch, and somebody duped me and sold me a fake, and nobody pointed out that it's a fake, and I have no idea that it's a fake, it will make zero difference, because I am legitimately thinking that I'm wearing a real watch. So the answer is simple. No, it would not make a difference. That doesn't mean you should get out there and buy high-end fake watches. I hate fake watches for one simple reason: that if you can't afford something, don't try to perpetrate as if you can. And that's one of the biggest reasons, not to mention how it hurts the industry, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, if you can't afford to buy a Ferrari, don't build a Ferrari kit car. I just live within your means, number one. And number two, I'm all for showing off. I've told you guys numerous times, there's nothing wrong with buying watches that stand out, that show off, that show that you have a big gold Rolex or a big shiny iced out watch. I see nothing wrong with that.
I wear a $15,000 Rolex!
Because if you can afford to do that, then by all means. Of course, don't buy that with your kids' college tuition money. Buy it within the means that you can afford and not with your last paycheck. But at the same token, if you're going to get out there and buy a fake watch to show off, who are you trying to fool? At the end of the day, you still look at the man in the mirror and you can't lie to yourself. Next question comes from Carlos Castillo. Dear Roman, first and foremost, I would like to say you're one of my favorite YouTubers, and I was so glad I found you after the collab with Paul Thorpe. I know you're a busy man, so I'll cut down to the chase. Well, thank you. Number one, I bought a used 2010 GMT 116710LN, so the Batman on an oyster. Runs well, but it's got a fair amount of scratches, and the crystal might need replacement due to some chips on the edges. The scratches on the crystals don't bother me as much as I use it daily. I got it right before it was discontinued for $6,500 USD with box and papers. What is your opinion on the watch, and do you think I should sell it now for a profit or keep it longer? Well, I'll answer that one very, very quickly. It's a question of how much you are enjoying the watch. I told you guys before, I'm a big fan of you guys taking profits on this watch. And a pre-owned GMT in that condition today, $12,000 to $13,000 on the market, you can pretty much double your original investment. And the condition that it's in is really irrelevant to a dealer like me, because the scratches is $150 polish away, and the crystal is not that expensive to replace. It's a question about how long do you still want to hold on to this watch, how long the hype is going to last. I'm a big fan of exiting at the top. I don't see these watches going over $20,000 unless you wait another 20 years. So if you don't mind parting with it, take the profit and go, because most of the time when you buy and sell watches, you lose. So nothing wrong with that. I recently got a sub 11613LB, that's the two-tone ceramic. It was 5 months old watch, and I got it for $11,000 with box and papers from a private seller, retail $14,001. I got it in immaculate condition. I've worn it maybe 10 times since, and then I have already got some minor scratches on the gold standard links. Do you think I got a fair deal for it? Do you think this watch will increase in value in the next 5 to 10 years? Do the swirls on the gold standard links affect the retail value? Can this watch be my everyday watch without having to worry about the bracelet stretch? I know this is a lot in one email. I would really appreciate it if you answered them in one of your videos. Well, I am. So I talked about two-tone watches, how they're just so undervalued. It's ridiculous, right? Last show I did in Miami, my buddy Rick from R&R picked up a two-tone Daytona for like 10 grand. So undervalued. It's absolutely nuts. I love this watch. I think I reviewed this watch on one of my What's on My Desks. And I just love the whole combination of the gold, the blue, the steel, everything together just works tremendously for me. You did get a good deal for it at $11,000. 5 months ago, I would pay $11,000 for a watch and sell it for $12,000, and you can probably get that money for it today. Increasing in value 5 to 10 years. This is not one of those watches that increases in value because there's going to be some sort of a hype. Two-tone watches just hasn't. There just hasn't been a hype on two-tone watches ever, right? And I don't think there will be. But what happens is the retail prices increase over time. So your pre-owned watch is worth less because it's pre-owned, but because the retail prices continue to increase over the next 5, 10 years, odds are in the very least you won't lose on this watch. or maybe you'll make a little bit of money. But with watches like this, there's a fine line between when the watch gets too old, so it starts to depreciate because of its age, versus the retail prices increases. You kind of got to find a happy medium. I would probably tell you, sell this watch when the retail price reaches around that $16,500, $17,000 mark. That would be sort of the sweet spot, which should probably happen over the next probably 5 years for sure. Swirls on the gold center links affect, no. No scratches ever affect the value on the watch unless you beat the crap out of it, hit it with a hammer. Drop it off a 10-story building or something like that. These scratches are, again, about $150 polish away from being brand spanking new, specifically with gold. Gold is the easiest to polish. And can this be my everyday watch without having to worry about the bracelet stretch? Yes. It's not a Jubilee bracelet, and even if it was today, they're putting ceramic tubes inside these bracelets. It's only the older Jubilee bracelets mostly that are a victim of that hideous stretch on the bracelet. You may get a slight stretch, but a stretch that's not going to be significant enough or visible enough when you turn the watch sideways. Hope that answers your question. Here's a good question from Danish. He writes via email, Roman, I'm one of your new subscribers. Been watching quite a few of your videos over the past couple of days. Great approach and content. Thanks a lot for sharing your wealth of knowledge with all of us. You're welcome. The main topic of my question is regards to bronze watches. In the past 5 years, bronze has really picked up by many of big companies like Tudor, Panerai, Oris, etc., and many micro brands. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's just a fad or it's here to stay? Will it affect the resale value compared to the same models in stainless steel? The reason I'm asking is because I'm looking into buying a Tudor Black Bay bronze or the Oris Carl Brashear chronograph. In my research, I've read quite a lot of good stuff, but also not so great, as there was one comment on YouTube where due to patina on the crown of his Tudor bronze, there was an uncomfortable feel to it after 3 years of usage, and some other had concerns of how it made patina age after, say, 15, 20, 30 years later. Since you can't really say how it will look, or if you would like the aging of the watch since usage of bronze is still relatively new, or at least in the amount of pieces being produced. Would love to hear from you. Also, would like to know if there's any chance near future you would ship to India as well. Just found out you don't ship here. Thanks again for the content, Danish. We can ship to India. It just becomes cost prohibitive because of the taxes that you are being charged. Because I would ship the watch fully declared, and you would have to pay whatever duties are there. And for the most part, it becomes cost prohibitive for at least majority of Indian customers. I have a lot of Indian customers, but most of them will have the watch either picked up here locally or shipped to a U.S. address or somewhere in Hong Kong, another duty-free zone. So bronze, yes, new fad. Absolutely. And that's a question that's not actually possible to answer. In order to be able to give an opinion, there has to be history behind it. For example, titanium watches, a relatively newcomer, but they've been around as long as they've been in business, which is pushing to 20 years right now. So at first people thought it might be a fad, but it ended up staying. But staying how? You don't have every single watch in a lineup of every single company being made in titanium. Only few choice pieces, a lot of times some of the bigger, heavier stuff to lighten the load of the watch. But for the most part, titanium stuck around. Not as the most popular metal, but just yet another option. I think the same is going to happen with bronze, right? The problem is with everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Like when Panerai came out with the first original Bronzo, the watch was selling for damn near double its retail value. It was holding value well. Pre-owned, they were still selling over list, and you couldn't get them because there was only a few made. But I think as the more and more brands and other companies come out with bronze models, IWC did it this year, right? It's going to become somewhat of a norm. Now, it's still a fad, but I think it's slowly going to become the norm, but it's not going to be as special as some of the first pieces they came out or when they first came out. As far as patina, I don't know why you are concerned at all, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, or 5 or 30 years from now. Bronze is bronze. It can be polished. In fact, patina can be taken off. Something as simple as a polishing cloth, right? You take a polishing cloth to any piece of bronze, I don't care if it's a watch or if it's a statue or a piece of antiques, and you can have it as shiny as you want it to be, right? So if you're not happy with the patina, just polish it, right? Take the patina off, and bronze will still be bronze. It's not a big deal. And then also when you start reading stuff on the internet, it's like the old saying, I wasn't feeling well today, so I looked up the symptoms on Google of what I might have, and I found out that I was dead, right? When you start reading into heavy-duty reviews, it's basically a bunch of different opinions of a bunch of different people with a bunch of different experiences. You have to base the experiences on your own experience. You can't trust some guy that said, that, he was uncomfortable wearing the watch after 3 years. Okay. Do you know if maybe he submerged the watch in water, or what he may have done to it for it to become uncomfortable to wear? You like a bronze watch, buy it, enjoy it. Worst case scenario, if it starts to turn colors on you and patina starts showing up and you don't like it, take it off with a polishing cloth. No big deal, right? Problem solved. And I like the Tudor Bronze Black Bay. So I think it's a good watch. You should pick one up. Hope that answers your question. Here's a good one from Giovanni Fontana. Dear Roman, I recently started binge watching your videos. Great content, informative and technical. Also for someone like me who is based in Europe where the market seems to be a little different. Thank you. I would like to know what you think about the discontinuation of the white quote-unquote piano dial 5711, which I personally like more than the blue dial. If it was a good move for Patek, and where do you see the price of this watch going in the future, considering also the fact that it has been produced since 2012, while the blue one since 2006. I thought it was 4. Well, doesn't matter. Do you think that the recent increase in price is mostly due to dealers trading with each other or final clients purchasing the watch? If you're talking about the increased prices of the 5711, it's due to dealers actually raising prices themselves. The minute something gets discontinued, whether it's from Rolex or Patek, or anything, I should say anything that's hot, right? Anything that's trading over list, anything that's trading close to list, anything that's super popular and everybody wants. If I'm holding a 5711 white dial and I find out that the watch got discontinued, I'm going to pull the watch back, I'm going to hold out for a few weeks, adjust the price accordingly, because then I know I won't be leaving extra profit on the table. This happens every time a Patek gets discontinued. It's happened for years with Patek, with Rolex, with certain APs, et cetera, hot models. Do I think it was a good move for them to discontinue the piano dial? Absolutely. It was the lesser popular 5711. And even though I love the white dial just as much as I love the blue, I can't tell you which one I like more. They're both a clean watch. 5711 was not as popular. It always traded for less than that of a blue dial. The blue dial was the most popular one. So it was a good move for them to discontinue that one, keeping the hype alive. I told you guys in one of my previous videos where I said, you know, I would love to see Patek discontinue all Nautiluses and just come up with a whole new lineup that will make those prices shoot through the roof. But it's still a moneymaker for them. They're not selling perpetual calendars. They're not selling split-second chronographs right now. They're not selling their high complications right now. Most of the stuff that they're selling is Nautilus Aquanaut, right? The rest of the stuff is kind of like, near here and there in comparison to the Nautilus line. So they can't really discontinue all of them because that's their moneymakers unless they come out with new ones. So by taking a watch, which was the 5711, which they also know, and believe me, they know, was less popular than that of a blue dial, that hypes up the 5711 overall even more, even the blue dial. Because now people are thinking, oh crap, they just discontinued the white dial? The blue dial's got to be next. Let's buy them up, let's buy them up, let's buy them up. So yes, it was a good move for them to discontinue the 5711. And where do I see the price of this watch? I told you guys before, even though I have a glass ball now that Ian gave me, but you know, I don't see into the future. If the market conditions continue to be the same in terms of Nautilus is being hyped up, and even the Aquanauts as well, right? That price of that watch is going to steadily climb. If something happens like it happened in 08, where everything just kind of crashed and it dumped value, it will go down just the same. It doesn't matter if it's discontinued or not. I can name you 5 or 10 Pateks that are discontinued today that nobody gives a crap about anymore, while in the hot times, while they were hot, they were trading at double retail. Hope that makes sense. Here's a good question from Richard S. from the UK. Seems like, again, via email. Hello, Roman. I love the Q&A videos in general. Insight we gain from your videos. Thanks and keep them up. Thank you. The question I have, and I'm yet to have answered by anyone at this, why is a tourbillon watch so much more expensive to a standard movement, only we are not talking double the total watch cost, but far in excess? Is it due to the fact that only a few makers actually make this movement and therefore command a premium price, and if so, why? And finally, what is the advantage of this movement, if any, or is it just a premium niche that the luxury manufacturers are itching without a real advantage? What do you know? I happen to have a couple of tourbillons here, actually. And it's an AP, surprise, right? Here's a Royal Oak tourbillon ceramic. What a wonderful watch it is. I'm going to show this watch on one of the next What's on my desk as well, but since you guys asked me that question, I figured I'll ask. Let me briefly show you the watch. Ceramic tourbillon, a Royal Oak, manual wind. The only thing that's different on this one to its predecessors in steel and rose gold is the fact that it's made out of ceramic. Ceramic has been doing really well for AP, so they decided to make a tourbillon out of it. One of the questions you answered in your own questions, yes, there's only a few makers that actually make the tourbillon movements, and a lot of major watch manufacturers go out to those other manufacturers to make the tourbillon movements for them, and they charge them a hefty price for the tourbillon. We talked about Breguet and why I consider Louis Breguet to be the godfather of all watchmaking. He's the guy that invented the tourbillon. Some of you may know what the tourbillon does, some of you may not. So the tourbillon, all it does is it adjusts the mainspring to the effect that gravity has on the movement in order for the watch to keep greater accuracy. all going back when Breguet was making pocket watches for the Queen, and the Queen said, hey, my pocket watch is running fast, my pocket watch is running slow. He had to figure this out. And mind you, in a day of age where there were no computers, no CAD machines, nothing to calculate with but except the brilliant mind of Louis Breguet. And that brilliant mind understood that it was gravity that was affecting his movements in that particular pocket watch. Mind you, when the tourbillon was made, it was made for a pocket watch, so it's only effective when the tourbillon cage is perpendicular to the ground, because the pocket watch was in a pocket, and this particular thing would be perpendicular to the ground. The minute the watch is like this, the tourbillon is not effective. When you turn it this way, it is effective, right? So you now have double tourbillon, double axis tourbillon, triple axis tourbillons that work that way, or 3D tourbillons, whatever you want to call them, that can negate the effect of gravity either which way you turn the watch. But that's what he did, and he made it by hand. So that was a hell of a feat, and it was a recognized feat, and it was a feat that's recognized till this day. It's something that's extremely difficult to make, although today it's all done by machines and computers, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, it's much easier than it was back in the day. But imagine that. You have something that's fully mechanical, and it's able to calculate every single minute the effect that gravity has on the mainspring in order for the watch to continue running accurately. It's pretty mind-blowing. Over the years, it became a status symbol because it was something that was most complicated within the watch alongside the minute repeater, right? It became recognized as a status symbol. It still is a status symbol till this day, which is why majority of the companies out there that put out tourbillon watches, they are priced extremely expensive. Some companies out there, you can pick up tourbillons for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, absolutely, but then usually the brand name doesn't come alongside with it, right? But anything new, anything that's hot, such as this Royal Oak tourbillon that retails for $158,000 and sells at $168,000 today, right? It sells over list. But then again, this isn't fair to say because this is a hot piece, right? And that's why it trades over list, not just because it's a tourbillon. Take any brands that are seemingly not as hot, like Vacheron or Jaeger-LeCoultre, or IWC, and things of that nature, and these guys will always charge up for their tourbillon because historically that's what it has been, right? Watches have lost sight of what they always were, which were a tool, right? Originally, when these high-end watches came out, they were a tool. There were timing tools. There were time-telling tools, right? There were precision instruments that were used not just on people's wrist pockets, but in cars, in the medical industry, later in the air and in space, right? But lately, you know, high-end watches have become just that. They become a status symbol, more or less, and less of a tool because there isn't anything that can replace anything that's electronic, such as an iPhone or perhaps an iWatch, right? So this is what it is. It's a combination of the fact that this indeed is a horological feat, arguably the second most complicated things that can be put into a watch outside of a minute repeater, and the fact that it has over the years become that status symbol. Imagine going back to when all this stuff was made by hand, and now you have to take a watch, usually with an existing complication such as a calendar, because a lot of these pocket watches, they weren't plain tourbillons. It was most likely a perpetual calendar, paired up with a tourbillon, or a chronograph paired up with a tourbillon. It was some sort of a complication. You don't see a whole lot of, in fact, I don't think I've ever seen a plain Jane pocket watch tourbillon, to be honest with you. It's usually paired up with something. Imagine the cost involved behind that back when this stuff was made by hand. And that sort of translated throughout the times to modern times, because remember, these companies, a lot of these companies have ran continuously for 200 years. If it was most expensive then, it's going to be most expensive today, even though the cost of production of that may have lowered. Why would you, if you are a major match manufacturer, lower the cost on a tourbillon and sort of have it lose that appeal of being something very exclusive, upper echelon type of watch in terms of complications? Hope that sheds a little bit of light into the world of tourbillons for you, Richard, and thanks for asking that question. Take one more from Peter24 off of YouTube. Seeing that a set of screwdriver on your desk made me wonder what brand of tools would you recommend? I have Virgin spring bar tool that was gifted to me, but I need more stuff so that I'm able to adjust bracelets and do basic stuff like that. But Virgin carries a high price. What are the other cheaper options, ideally with the same or similar quality? Seeing the Zenith Cohiba in an episode, I heard that Zenith has a high rate of warranty claims. Is that true, or is it complete BS? Thanks. Well, guess what? My screwdrivers, in fact, some are missing right now because I haven't them sharpened, but they are indeed Virgin, Swiss made, and there isn't any other set that I would recommend. I did my fair share of screwdriver shopping and tool shopping, and I found out one simple truth, that you get what you pay for. So if you're gonna buy a set of screwdriver, buy that, because in the long run, you'll end up saving money by not having to replace the other screwdrivers. You can buy a set of screwdriver for that as low as 10 bucks on Amazon, but you're gonna get what you pay for. Those are high quality Swiss-made screwdrivers that will last you forever. And the only thing you might have to do is once in a blue moon, rebuy the inserts. and it will last you the entire lifetime. So don't go cheap on screwdrivers, buy that. As far as Zenith high rate of warranty claims, I haven't heard that. I've sold plenty of Zenith, and like any other brand, once in a blue moon you get one bad apple or something happens, somebody does something to the watch, it comes back for repair, and there you have it. But to label Zenith as being high in warranty claims, I think that's BS, as you said in the email. Hope that answers your question. Guys, that's it for me for today. I appreciate you tuning in as always. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber to my channel, along with the notification bell, tell you when my videos are coming out, even though you know every Tuesday and Thursday you can count on a video from me. And don't forget to share this video along your social media. This is probably the #1 thing that helps my channel grow. I see when you guys share my video, right? It shows me in analytics and stuff. It shows me when it goes on Facebook and Instagram and things of that nature. And that's what helps my channel grow the most. I told you before, I don't buy likes, I don't buy shares, I don't buy subscribers. The only way my channel grows is because of my viewers, and I like my channel growing organically because of the new subscribers that I get. I'm actually interested in what I have to say. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.